Yeah, hi all. Welcome to the new session. Today we will be discussing about a different topic. So basically we are going to discuss about the storage services in Azure. So there are different kind of storages are available in Azure, in cloud basically. Even if we understand like there are different kind of storage devices that we are using for our personal purposes, right? Whether we have some hard disk or we have some kind of flash drives or CDs, or yeah, there are different kind of things that that we are using to store the data, right? So when it comes to Azure, there are certain kind of things that we can understand when it comes to storage in Azure. Okay. So I just wanted to give you an overall overview on that so that you guys can able to understand what's the storage in terms of storage, what all things are there, and that kind of things that you can be identified. So yeah, basically in Azure, let's say in Azure, um, you know, Azure is basically a cloud provider, so it has its own storage solution. Okay. Storage solution is there. So basically, it will support most of the data storage scenarios. So like it will offer a scalable object to store data objects and all. It also provides some kind of file systems or service kind of things. Also, it is providing some kind of like storing some kind of messaging kind of things, and also it can store a different like unstructured data and all SQL kind of data as well. So if we think about that, it can store object data. Okay, object data it can store. Then, as I said, it can store some kind of messaging kind of data we can store. Okay, which means messaging means it's a like if we have a conversation happening or something like that, then messaging the sense from a device, we are getting a multiple like continuous data and capture the data, that kind of things that we can capture with the help of some kind of storage solution, as well as we can store NoSQL like that, like some kind of database kind of things that we can store. So basically, this is the storage solutions that Azure is actually providing. So when it comes to Azure, uh, Azure's Azure's storage, okay, Azure storage. Azure storage is a service basically. Okay, it can store files, it can store tables, and also other type of information. Okay, so we may be using a lot of different kind of data like data for websites or mobile applications or desktop applications. We can use Azure storage for virtual machines and also for other purposes like platform as services, PaaS services we can call. So for all these things, actually, we can use the Azure storage. Okay. So the things that we need to first of all understand what kind of data we mainly used. Okay. So when it comes to the categories of data, okay, let's say we have data here. If we are categorizing it into different ways, first of all, we can say there is one data that is called structured data. Okay. Structured data. Obviously, there is one called unstructured data. And also there is, let me say, VM data. Okay. these these are the categories of data we will have basically. So if I say when it comes to virtual machine data, okay, or I can say, yeah, I can explain the virtual machine data first. So if I'm saying something about virtual machine data, that is basically what we are storing inside a virtual machine. You know, right? What all things we will store. Any idea? In a virtual machine, what all kind of data we will store?
Um, we store whatever the client's data would be,
Yeah, files, or
files and
there will be different
file.
kind of yeah, mainly files we will call, right? So that
Yeah,
will be some kind of website data
website.
or the
Yeah.
application data or whatever. There are different datas, maybe some kind of documents, whatever. There are different kind of data, right? So,
Yes.
so uh, when it comes to VM data, there may be like different types of data that it can store. So storage for a virtual machine data is like it is provided with the help of managed disk. Okay. Do you know managed disk? We have basically managed disk is like we have C, D, and D kind of disk in VM, right? The local disks we can see, right? That disk, that is basically we will call it as managed disk. Okay. So uh, data disk, and we will call it as OS disk and data disk. So data disk are mainly used by virtual machine to store data. Okay. What kind of data? It can store database files. It can store website. It can web data files, whatever it can say. Okay. So whenever we are creating one VM, one disk will be attached to that. That will be the OS disk. Okay. And we can attach multiple disk to that. Okay. Multiple disk that we will call as data disk. Okay. We can attach multiple disk to VM, that we will call it as what, data disk. And altogether we will call these kind of disks are managed disk. You got the idea?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. So next is unstructured data. Okay. Unstructured data is like, it is something like least organized, which means the data may not have a clear relationship or that kind of thing. It's completely unstructured one. So unstructured data, it may have, basically it will have some kind of unstructured data, let it be. So in that kind of data, it can be stored in what? We can store in blob storage. Okay. We can store it in blob storage, or we can store it in, there is one thing called data lake. Okay. So here we said what, managed disk is the service that we will be using for storing VM data. Here we have what, blob storage and data lake storage. Okay. So basically this blob storage is highly scalable. Okay. And this is something like a distributed file system. This is a distributed file system. Okay. You don't need to go deeper into that, but you need to have an idea of what it is and what all, that kind of idea you need to have. That's why I'm explaining all these things. And when it comes to the structured data, it is like it should have some kind of relations. Okay. So structured data is often, we can call that some kind of database with rows and columns. Do you remember, we have some kind of Excel, you know, there will be rows, columns, and all, right, like that. There will be some kind of relations in that data. Okay. So that's how structured data is meant to And for structured data, actually, Azure is providing one service called Azure Table Storage. Okay, table storage. And there are other things like Cosmos DB, and there are SQL database. Okay. Okay, got it. So these are the structured kind of data that we will be dealing with. Azure, this Cosmos DB is generally available, globally available. Azure SQL database, this SQL DB is it's a fully managed one. Okay, which means we can say as database as a service or something like that. So it fully managed means Azure is managing all these things like that. So that's how structured data is considered. So basically the data will be categorized into structured data, unstructured data, and VM data. Okay, got it? These
Okay.
are this is the overview actually. This is to just to get an idea on this, what kind of storage we have and all. And in when it comes to storage tiers, which means the pricing. Okay, the pricing, there are two kinds. One is standard and other is premium. That is a two kind of what tier means storage account. Basically in standard, the storage will be with the HDD. You know HDD, hard disk drive, right? HDD disk, but this will be like SSD. Okay, solid state drive. Okay, so the premium will be like there are differences means the in terms of cost and the speed and all, there will be differences. So the tiers will be like this standard, premium, like that. Okay, so if we are using SSD, then it will be like it will give more performances. That's it. And is this clear, right?
Yeah, yes, it's clear.
Okay. So yeah, when it comes to storage, we said no, there are blob storage. And yeah, when I say there is a different kind of things, when we say about Azure storage, we take it, okay. So in Azure storage will offers 4 kind of data services, okay. Azure is offering. One is, as I said, blob storage. Okay, so first is blob storage. It is basically, it will have what text or binary data. That means the storage, like the data will be stored in either in binary or text or something like that. Okay, binary means normal data, but it is treated as binary inside that. Then there is another thing called Azure Files. Okay, Azure Files. It is mainly for we can share that file share, something like that. So it is for cloud or on premises. We can use this. Okay. Sometimes it can be used as a folder or something. So for file servers, there are a concept called file server. We can store multiple files, dump files into it. It may have more capacity, like more size files and all that we can store in Azure Files. Third is there is one thing called queue storage. Okay, queue storage is for a messaging purpose. Messaging purpose means if from one point to another point, okay, if the messages are going in and going out, then this kind of data can be stored in queue. And the fourth is the table storage that we said, no, the structured, the non-relational structured data, like the structured data will be stored over here. Okay, these are the four kind of data services that we will have in storage services. Okay. And it is like, at the end, I'll show you how to create a storage account. Okay. And when it comes to the storage account type, as I said, there are some types. When we comes to types, okay, there are different types like general purpose, V2, then premium, like this type kind of types also available. Okay, so what I'm planning to show you is like how to create a storage account. Okay, so first of all, I'll go to storage accounts. Okay, storage accounts. If I were to create one, actually test one, I'll take a storage test 0019. Okay, this will be the storage account name. We can't put any hyphen or something in between. It will not support. Okay. See, the field can contain only lowercase letters and numbers. We can't put any other things. It will not support any special characters, either number or letters that we need to mention. Okay. And also we need to, any questions you can ask. Okay.
No, no questions.
Okay. Yeah, for storage account and all, we can't put any hyphen, any special characters in between. Only letters and numbers. Letters means and yeah, letters itself. See, it will show us only lower letters, right? Only lowercase it will say. Now region, yeah, that we can use any of the region. I'm just putting it like this. See, performance, I said no, standard or premium. Standard means it is basically a normal one. Premium means it will provide us a more performance. Okay. And if you see redundancy is something like in which all areas that data has to be stored. You can see there are different options. LRS is locally redundant, which means it is a low cost option. Okay. So it will store the data inside that zone itself. If it is geo redundant, then it will like spread across a pair of regions. And in zone, if it is zone, then in region, we will have multiple zones. So in that different multiple zones, the data will be there. So there will be 3 copy of data that is residing in different zones. And there is GZRS, which means geo zone redundant data also. So which means the data will be kept in a different region and also in the current region, but in different zones. Okay, that's it. That is like to make that redundancy. So this is the only things that we need to mention: storage account name and which the performance we need to prefer and redundancy. I'll go with locally redundant one. I don't need any other redundancy. Click on next. Here nothing we need to mention. Okay. If we need only blob story, there is one called access layer, which means hot means for everyday purpose, we can use hot. Otherwise, for example, the data is storing regularly in every hour or every day, something like that, then we can use hot. Otherwise, if it is a one time, only single time a data is created. Okay, for example, I'm taking a backup of one virtual machine and I'm putting in the storage. That means only the data will be stored in maybe in 2 or 3 thrice a week only, right? So which means the data is accessing infrequently. So in that times we can use cool also. Okay. I hope you got the difference between hot and cold. Okay, like
But
frequently oh, yeah, you can ask.
no, in general, should we opt like hot or cool?
It's like up to the scenario. For example, if we need a storage account, the data is everything. Like if the access is means, even if we are writing data or reading data, okay, we are putting some data or we are taking some data, that means the data is accessing in frequently, right? In that situations we can use hot. Otherwise, let's say I am creating backup in every weeks, okay, which means in each 7 days I will paste some, like I will put some backup in this storage account, which means it don't have much frequent, right? It is infrequent, which means in a month it will only take 4 or 5 times, right? In that kind of things we can use cool because it is less costlier. Okay, hot is much more costlier than cool. Okay, that's upon the scenario that you will have.
Okay.
Okay, then next is networking. When we say networking, there are three options. One is like we can enable for all, which means if we have the key of that storage account, we can everyone can access. Okay. Second is if you select it, the access will be restricted to a specific network, which means uh, to a limited number of virtual networks or IP addresses like that, we can mention here. Okay, if we enable this. And disable public access and use private access means we need to provide either an IP address or we need to mention a specific endpoint, which means we may have one VM inside a network. So we need to connect to that. Then we need to have some, we need to create an endpoint, which means it will create a NIC card in that network and it will be able to connect with that IP. Okay. So there are three ways. That's a network access. And routing preferences, this will be fine. Microsoft network routing, because if we are selecting network internet routing, what happens is our traffic will go through the internet. Okay, so the data will be going through internet. That is not good because it may take some security issues because the data is going through that, right? So to avoid that, we may use Microsoft networking. So the data will be going through the Microsoft backbone network. Got it?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. Data protection, that like whether if we this is just like our policy that we need to change, that we can change also according to a requirement of the client or something. How many days we need to retain like that. Okay, this is that just that kind of details that we need to mention. Otherwise, nothing else. Next is like, okay, this is also by default. We don't need to. Yeah, here we can mention whether we need to have blob and files only or all type blob, file, table, and queues that we need mention. That we can mention here. Here it is default. This is fine. Okay. Next here I think I need to create one creator tab. Otherwise, it will not support. Okay. Now it's so that's it. Then let me create. The validation is happening. Let me create it. So the storage account is creating. Okay, it is created. Go to resource. Okay, the storage account is created. Okay. If you go to storage browser, you can see that what all kind of blob container, file share, queue, table. Okay. So we can decide, we can use blob container or file share to store our data. Okay, tables and queues are for, I said, no, tables for some kind of database or something like that, and queues for some kind of messaging services. So blob or file share we can use. Blob is like same way. We will get this kind of what interface, and we can, it's basically a container kind of thing. It is not the container that we are mentioning in a case or something. It will like a folder, but it will call as container. That's it. Okay. Here we are calling container, but it is not the container that we are mentioning in the case or something. So if we add a container, we can mention one name, test, then create. So it will create one folder like that. That's it. Okay. If we can see, we can upload data. 1 second.
So, sir, so
Hmm.
is this storage account like, is it a part of the VM or is separate from the VM?
It is not a part of VM. It is a separate from VM.
Okay. I mean, this would be in the Azure itself, right? I mean, it's just a storage in the Azure.
Yeah, it
In
is
the
a
Azure.
storage services in Azure. If we need to store something, for example, if just we need to store some data or something inside, then we can use these services. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. And if you see here, I have file shares. It is also similar.
But
But
how to operate it, sir? Like, I mean, for the VMs, we used to like, logging, through the logging password and all. And it's, I mean, it does have the Windows or maybe Linux server or something. But what about the storage? Like, is it on the portal itself or?
it's in the portal
uh,
itself.
okay,
And
it's just a folder. That's it.
yeah, just a folder kind of thing. And there are utilities that we can use. There is one called Azure Storage Explorer. Okay. Microsoft Azure Storage Explorer. We can use this application to manage that storage. Okay. That's also possible. We can see the folders and all. If we need to copy paste in between any performance, see any data movement or that kind of things, that we can do with the Microsoft Azure Storage Explorer. Okay.
Okay.
We can do every activities here, no issues. But let's say if we need to use this solution, this is also fine. Okay. We can collect, we can connect to different different storage account and all here. Okay. So if we need to copy one data from one storage account to another storage account, you can use this Storage Explorer. Okay.
Okay.
Like this. So for example, I created one test here, right? In file share also, I'll create one file share. So basically, see, it will support 100 TP. That means it can hold like huge data than the
10,000
globe.
GB.
Yeah. So we can attach this file as a network drive or something in our virtual machine. Which means if we create test share, I mentioned, and
So it's possible to transfer from one data from one storage account to other storage account, right?
yeah. For that purpose, actually, we can use this Storage Explorer. From here, we can copy, then paste like that. Activities we can do.
What about transferring the data from VMs, or can we? I mean, are we able to transfer data from VM to here or here to VM?
Yeah, for that purpose, that's what I'm saying. For that purposes, file share will be the ideal one. Okay, we can store data inside this file share. For example, we can upload. There are some kind of issues happening. So we can upload data. You can see, I think some kind of issues is happening from Microsoft itself. Yeah. See here it is there, right? Okay, like there are some issues happening in the back end. That's why we are getting this. But we can upload the data. We can see that we can upload the data over there. There is one, see. It will quickly go, but please check. See, upload we can see right there. Like this, we can upload data. Okay. And we can manage that storage account with you from one storage account to other storage account or like that kind of things that we can do with this tool. Just explore this tool, create 2 storage accounts and try to make those kind of transfer and all. Okay. And the main one more thing that I need to share with you is security. Okay. In the security, there is one thing, access key. Okay, this is the important thing. Even if we created the storage account and we put anything inside it, we can't access it if, okay, if we need to provide access, we need to use this key. Okay, we need to use this key. We can copy it, and along with this only, we will be able to access. For
Okay,
example,
so we can only access the storage account by this key. That's it.
yeah, that's it. And there are this key means this is permanent access. If we provide this key, they can access the storage account until and unless this key is present here. Okay.
Okay.
And there is another situation. For example, if one guy comes in, okay, let's say there is a temporary like one vendor is coming in, they will work for us for 1 month. Okay, that means they need access to the storage account only for 1 month. Okay, they don't need a permanent access. Access key is something like a permanent access. Okay, if we provide this key, khalas, they can access. Okay.
Okay.
But
Okay.
if we need to restrict it within a specific time frame, which means 1 day or 1 month or certain like that, then we need to provide it as a shared access signature. We will call it as SAS, means SAS. Okay.
Okay. Shared access storage.
If we click over here, we can mention to which all services it can provide access, start and expiry date also we can mention. Okay. Once
Okay.
we mention that, if we provide, and also we can mention which IP addresses they are trying to access. If we mention some IP addresses, let's say 192.122.22.12, like this, then if we select something over here, it will see generate SAS key, right? You can see we need to generate this key, generate. It will show some keys. These keys that we can share with those kind of requirement, because it will be valid only till from today to tomorrow. Then it will be expired. Even if they are trying to access with any of these links, they can access till this time. Body.
Okay.
That's a SAS key. Okay. So for permanent access, just understand you can use as access keys. And for temporary access, you can provide shared access signature. That is SAS key. SAS. See, you can see, right? SAS, SAS. Or you can say SAS token or something like that. Okay. Okay,
Okay.
got it?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay, okay.
So, sir, basically, who can use this storage account? Like, I mean, the one who is using the portal like can easily access the storage account. But is it on the client base or what? Like, who can use this account?
For example, if you need a location to store some data, okay, like a Google Drive or something,
Okay.
then we can create a storage account. and we can provide an access key or shared access key signature with them, so they can access it, and they can use this tool to upload the data, download the data like that.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay. Okay. But I mean, this account would be there in the data centers, right? Same as the VMs.
Yeah, it will be there in the data centers. But the thing is, storage account are PaaS, which means platform as service. So Azure will take care of the patching, any kind of thing. Azure will take care. We don't need to think about it. Okay. In terms of failure or anything, Azure will take care of it. We don't need to think about it. But when we say coming to a virtual machine, it is an infrastructure as service, right? IaaS. So that means if some failure or outages, something happened to virtual machines, the data may be, there may be like a loss of data may happen. Okay. So for PaaS service, we don't need to worry about that. But for virtual machines and all other IaaS tools, IaaS services, we need to have some backup plan or disaster recovery kind of setup. Okay, just understand that. Keep in mind that. Okay.
Okay.
That's the difference between PaaS and IaaS.
Okay.
And see here, let me try to attach one resource. Okay, see, I am trying to attach one resource, storage account. See, it will ask whether connection string or SAS token, it will mention, right? Or account name and key. These three ways we can connect. Okay, if I select connection string, then I need to go here, and here you can see connection string, right? We can copy it from here and paste it over there. But remember, it's a permanent access. If I say shared access, then that means it's a temporary access.
Like logging ID password.
Not logging ID password. I said no. We created some SAS key now. No, like for a certain time of period of time.
But what if the clients want to access?
Yeah, client want to access, for example, if they need to access, then we can provide either connection string or SAS key or account name and key provided
Okay. Okay.
according to the request, which means if they need to access for a month or a certain period of timeline or a time frame, we can provide it as SAS key. Otherwise, account name and key or connection string that we can provide. I'm currently selecting account name and key. Click on next. Account key. Here I need to paste it. Let me take it. This is the key. Copy. I'm pasting it over here. Account name is this one. I'll just paste it. Okay, then Azure, then next. Connect. See, it is connected, right? You can see. If I click on this, okay, I need to authenticate this. That's why it is giving that. See, okay, I need to authenticate this. That means that is not publicly accessible. It is facing some issues. We saw now, whenever we are using this thing, it is giving us some kind of issues, right? See this kind of issue. So that's why we are getting this error here. But this is how we can add multiple storage account, and we can copy that kind of things that we can do. Okay. So
Okay.
okay.
So, sir, is it okay to say like this storage account is the alternative of Google Drive and OneDrive, for example?
Yeah, we can say like that. Yeah, we can say
Okay.
like that. Yeah, because but like we can if we need to share that details, then we need to provide some access keys. Otherwise, we can't.
Okay. Okay.
To store the data in a secure way, we can use storage account. Okay. If we have a VM and one drive in it, what happens is that drive is an IAS one, which means if some like failure happens, there may be a risk of data loss. But if we have a storage account, that will be taken care by the Azure. So we don't need to bother about that. The data will be available. Okay.
Okay.
Got the difference?
I think like in general, the requirements would be mostly on the IaaS stuff like the virtual machines and all, rather than the storage account, I guess, right?
Yeah, but there is a way to attach the storage account to that VM. As I said, no, if we have some
Yeah.
file share, we can attach that to the virtual machines.
Okay,
So
okay.
in
Yeah,
that
because
case,
we can change it. We cannot do some changes in the virtual machine storage, right? So that we can attach the storage account.
yeah, we can attach store account, and if we map it over there, then we can store the data from virtual machine itself. Then what happens is we don't need to worry about the data loss or something, because storage, this is a PaaS service, which means Azure will take care of all those things, patches, upgrades, everything. Got it?
Okay, okay. Yes, we got it.
Okay. And that's about the storage services and all. So yeah, that's all I need to. I'm just editing the results because I don't need to spend it anymore. And there is, let me check if we have any other resource over here. See, this is something called key vault. Okay, key vault is for, as the same name suggests, it is kind of vault that can be used to store some secrets. For example, if we have some kind of, what we can say, we have some database username and password, or VM username and password, that kind of credentials, right? That we can store inside this. Okay.
Okay. Like the secrets.
Yeah, secrets, basically secrets. That's what key vault is. And in key vaults, if you click on objects, there are different kind of things. In the secrets, we can store. Okay. If I click on secrets, you can see there will be different. Okay. I don't have authorized to access this, but 1 second, let me check whether there is any other paste key. Alt. Here we can like we can add the details like whether it's a username or password. Here we can mention the name, and here we can mention the secret. Okay, for example, if I mention what I can say, yeah, okay, what we can say, VM server. If we have a VM server or VM web server, okay, web server, we can paste, we can mention the password here. So it will be like this. We can't see that, and we can mention, okay, this is the password. So those who can access this secret can only access this password. Got it? Basically, it's a kind of, Google password manager kind of thing. We can store our passwords or something like that. We can use Key Vault, okay, to store some secrets and all. That's it.
Okay.
So this is like you may don't need to. This is best, but just understand that Key Vault is the services that we will use to store some secrets. So only who have like access to this can only access those kind of secrets. Otherwise, no one can. Okay. These are the two things that I want to share with you. So it's like, yeah, that's it for today. That's all the two things that I want to share with you. So yeah, that's it. Hmm? Any questions?
No, sir. No questions so far.
Okay. So
Uh, yeah, only just one thing. So have you ever got like this kind of requirements earlier, like in that like in scenarios like where the virtual machines storage got storage got exceeded, and then we need to like increase the storage, and then you probably had to add the storage account to just increase the VM storage.
Yeah. So 1 second. I don't know whether this is the right. Okay, give me a second. So for example, this is the one VM that we have earlier, right? In the
Yes.
previous Ansible task we did. If we go to the disk, okay, it will give me OS disk and data disk. Okay.
Yes.
If I click on OS disk and in the settings, I can select size and performance. Okay. Here I can increase the storage till what? 32,767 GB. Till that I can upgrade.
The virtual machine.
Not the virtual machine, the size of the disk. That you
Oh,
mean 10 GB to 20 GB. Currently I have
okay.
32 GB. I can expand it to 64 or 128, whatever, or I can select this 128 and put 120 over here. So that custom size will be also possible.
Okay.
Right. So this is how we will be like upgrading the sizes. Once we upgrade a disk, we can't downgrade. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
got it?
Yes.
So this is how we can upgrade the storage. And for VM, if we click on size, here we can change the RAM and all. Currently B2S, which means this is the one, 2 CPU, 4 GB RAM. Okay, I can upgrade it to this 8 CPU, 32 GB RAM. Like that, I can upgrade. Just wanted to click
So,
here. Hmm.
so you mean we can still upgrade the VM? That means, right?
Yeah, we can upgrade. There is an option to resize. But only
Oh,
one
okay.
thing,
Okay.
the VM has to be turned off. Okay, we can't resize when it is on. We need to turn it
Okay.
off.
Okay.
Then we can resize.
Okay.
You
Okay.
can select this size, and from here you can select. There are different combinations according to our requirement. We can change. So the pricing
Okay.
may
Okay.
be different, like according to the, see, you can see, right? There are
Yeah.
$50 per month, $350 per month. See, 146. See, there are little bit higher also, 513, like that. Okay. Sometimes,
Mhm.
in some projects I used, I think some kind of sizes that will cost around $5,000 per month. That much huge also needed sometimes processing kind of thing, because the data science kind of areas or some kind of different processings, they need some kind of high end. Okay. You just go through
Okay.
this because you just go through this, so it will give you some kind of interesting things, like there are some kind of specific series that will give us less RAM and more space, more RAM and less space, or uh, optimizing for the usage basically. Okay, see, E series you can see now for your high memory needs. Here, if we need high processing, then we can use this, like that. Okay.
Okay.
Or if you need a high CPU performance, like that. See, high throughput, low latency, directly map, like that, L series. So there are a lot of different type of sizes it is having. Just go through it so you will be getting more idea on that. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, that's it. That's all about it for today.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Bye.